Ow. Hi, my name is Mark Weaver, and I'm doing a book review. My first book review, and I'm kind of excited. The book I'm doing it's kind of a funny story by Ned Vizzini, who he himself. It's kind of like a memoir. The book is about a depressed teenager, Craig Gilner, and one night he tries to kill himself, and he gets himself checked in a mental hospital. Not a mental ward, just a psychiatric place where he can get better. Um, from the bat, you get addicted to this narrator. You read him, you can read his thoughts. It's very clear, it's not very complicated. It's not like Pride and Prejudice. It's very modern. And you relate with him because he's a teenager. You can see and relate with him about stuff. He's going to this new school, and the school's too much pressure on him, too much homework. And I know a lot of people who can just say, that's me right there. So you fall in love with this narrator, and it's addicting. You don't want to stop reading him because it's so good. You want to see where his journey. You want to go with him on this journey and see if you learn something. And from the very first words, you are with him. Some things that were annoying to me about the narrator. He wasn't the perfect narrator. I might sound cliche, but the narrator, to me, he got annoying because he was complaining about his depression, because he is diagnosed with depression. He takes drugs for depression, so he's really depressed. And now, people in Africa, they don't get as much things as Craig. And even though it sounds kind of over, everyone says that, it's true. He's complaining that his life isn't good enough. He tries to kill himself. And I feel like, you know what? Stop it. I think it's stupid. So, one night, he decides to kill himself. But instead, he calls the 1-800 hotline for suicide. I thought it was very anticlimactic. He's like, I'm gonna go kill myself. And then he says, you know what? I think I should call the 1-800 suicide hotline. So he does, and from there, it kind of goes downhill. He goes into the psychiatric hospital, and all of the characters he meets are one-sided, meaning they don't go very much in depth. If you've ever read Al Capone Does My Shirts, it's very similar to that. He meets all these people, a crazy guy named Jimmy who says, it'll come to ya, and a guy named Humble who's just kind of alpha male, kind of cool guy, but he's just depressed as well. And he meets this girl named Ebony who's black, and she's crazy as well. And then from there, we kind of see his journey. He has to spend 5 days in this hospital. He was checked in, and he doesn't want to leave. I mean, he does, but it's not like he's fighting to get out. He likes it there. And in there, he meets a girl named Noelle. And Noelle, it's the standard American love story teenager. And they practically have sex. What I didn't like is the tone of the story changed from kind of this teenager depressed, and it was very honest. And then it goes into this, love story sex, and he's like, it frickin' rocks. And I was turned off because it didn't fit the tone of the story. And the journey is very put together. Sometimes I feel like it's too concrete, and he never lets the actual journey come apart, and he never goes deep in the character, the author, or the narrator. And once you hit the hospital. It kind of goes downhill from there. There is a side story about Craig and his friend Aaron, who's this chill pot addict who goes to the same school. This very high, very good school. I mean, it's top of the line, first class, Brooklyn. They live in Brooklyn. And I think it's a little unbelievable, but Aaron, he doesn't spend hours of homework, and he doesn't spend hours of time on his homework, unlike Craig. And Craig is the only one at his school who can't do any activities, and every other student who comes from all over the world, they can. So it's a little bit unrealistic, but it's true. So the put together of all the students and his friend Aaron, who has a girlfriend named Nia, and Nia is apparently depressed, and Craig is in love with her, and he just doesn't really want to admit it, but he is. And that kind of side story doesn't go along very well. Despite the one-sided characters he meets in the hospital, which gets confusing because there's so many and you don't know who's actually part of the hospital and who's the actual patients. And despite kind of the complaining Craig Gilner, he can go from really honest and really good to this complaining, it's annoying. Despite the side stories of Aaron and all of them. And definitely despite the Noelle romance story, who really cheesy about Craig's realization that this girl, she has cuts all over her face. Apparently, if she has that and she's open about it, this concrete kind of, she has cuts on her face. She's open about her problems. It was a little bit cheesy for me. And that's how Craig realizes that he shouldn't be depressed. And they fall in love. He gets home. He realizes, you need to live now. You need to actually live. And it's once you get to the very last 2 pages that the story actually comes together. It actually works. I really like it from the ending. Other than the middle, which was very sloppy put together, it wasn't very insightful. It was very kind of informational. I didn't really learn anything. I didn't really fall in love with the characters. They were just okay. Other than all of those problems, the honesty of Craig at times can really suck you in the book. And the very last 2 pages hopefully will change readers' minds about their lives. But I don't think the overall effect will. I don't think it ever will, unless the middle was definitely worked on. Other than that, it was a very entertaining read. It got me mad and frustrated, but I really enjoyed it. I couldn't put it down. For those of you who aren't as critical as me, you'll love the book. You'll see glimpses of what I said. Maybe not as extreme, but you'll see what I'm talking about. And if you're very critical, if you want to read a good book and you don't want to waste your time, I would not recommend this book, because there are too many problems other than the good parts. So that is my review. I hope you like it. This is like my first one. I'm a little nervous. So thank you for watching, and I hope you read good books.